Immigrants arrived on both sides of the wall, lured by the promise of a better life. East and West, bitter rivals, offering jobs and competing for the affections of the world.
Ich 1955 nach Deutschland gekommen bin und damals kam ich als Kind mit 13 Jahren nach Deutschland.
East Berlin became a place of asylum for North Vietnamese communists.
Wir wurden damals ausgesucht, also es waren ausgesuchte Kinder. Das Wetter war kalt, für uns kalt, ja. Aber wir wurden sehr gut aufgenommen von der Bevölkerung, die dort, und von den Kindern. Ja, und deshalb haben wir uns ein sehr gutes Gefühl, ein sicheres Gefühl, dass wir bei dem Bruderland waren, sozusagen.
Also für Sie war Deutschland, die DDR damals,
ja,
ein Traumland, ein Paradies,
das kann man sagen.
So wie Amerika das war für Leute im Westen.
Ja, das war sozusagen.
Und was hielten Sie damals von den Amerikanern?
Für uns war der Amerikaner damals Feind.
Und als die DDR dann gescheitert ist, nach dem Mauerfall, haben Sie ihr dann vielleicht ein bisschen nachgetrauert?
Ja, das muss man eben so sagen. Die deutschen Jugendlichen, ja, die wurden vor dem Mauerfall auch so anerzogen, ja, dass wir gekommen sind, um die Produktion der damaligen DDR mit aufzubauen. Ja, aber nach dem Mauerfall ist die Sache so wieder gekommen, ja, dass die deutschen Jugendlichen sagten, also diese haben unsere Arbeit genommen, ja, und die müssen dann jetzt zurück, ja, damit wir Arbeit haben.
Sind Sie Berliner?
Ich bin nicht ganz Berliner, aber so ungefähr.
On the other side of the wall, Turks were invited to West Berlin to help rebuild. They settled in the then run-down district of Kreuzberg, squashed up against the wall. Over 100,000 Turks now call themselves Berliners. But Kreuzberg wasn't just home to the Turkish community. During the 1970s, history was repeating itself. The West Berlin authorities needed young people to sustain their city, and they got them by offering freedom once again. Young German men who moved to Berlin were exempt from military service. State subsidies attracted artists. It was a city of anarchists, political radicals, and all kinds of outsiders. Kreuzberg became the alternative capital of the world, barely changed since the war. Its empty houses were ripe for squatting. This was a place where people were left to do their own thing. In 1973, an American country musician searching for his own kind of freedom came to Berlin. But he wasn't heading for the west of the city. This cowboy rode east from the ranches and Rocky Mountains of Colorado to live by a lake in the East Berlin suburb of Schmöckwitz. His name was Dean Reed, in his teens a singing sensation, who then got communism.
Dies ist ein Liebeslied. aber Liebe über alle. Und Liebe für ein Ideal, für die Freiheit.
Reed was turning the Western idea of freedom on its head.
Love your brother, but hate your enemy.
His enemy was the capitalist West.
I used to think that peace and love were just the same. Then I learned that life is not only a game. Each man must fight and fight again. But never, never, never let your life just flow away. Let your life have value every day.
The East Berliners took Reed as one of their own. He was a huge star of stage and screen.
Now that I've seen the light, we are as much as one.
His movies were westerns, but not with the kind of message that you'd expect. When he did return to his homeland in the US, it was to defend the actions of his new brothers.
Why was the wall put up in the first place?
The wall was put up to defend themselves in the first place. In the same way,
the wall was put up to make sure that East Germans would not go to West Germany.
No, that's only a half-truth. I'm sorry, it's not true.
Following this interview, Reed received death threats in his native land. He returned to Berlin, but began to show signs of mental instability. On the 17th of June, 1986, his body was found in this lake. Within days, it was rumored that Reed had been assassinated by the Stasi, the KGB, or even the CIA. The official line was that he had died of accidental drowning. To this day, no one knows exactly how Dean Reed died. A suicide note was recently discovered in his Stasi file. But far from being conclusive evidence, many have argued that it may have been falsified to cover up something far worse. The point is this, though. For all the freedoms that Dean Reed felt here in East Berlin, the state was on his back every step of the way. For years, this anonymous building was the center of a huge domestic spy network that stretched into every level of East German society. Along with the file of Dean Reed, the intimate and mundane details of the lives of thousands of Berliners who were a potential threat to the state were meticulously recorded and stored here. After the wall had fallen, it was to this infamous archive that the angry East Germans flocked, as they ransacked the building looking for the names of the secret informers on their own lives. This anonymous block was Berlin's Bastille. For the city's people, it symbolized the rotten, tyrannical regime in East Berlin. For years, this city and its people had been suspended between two halves of the world, just like Frieda Schulze on that August day back in 1961. But in this act, Berliners were finally freeing themselves. After Frieda fell, escaping to the west, she slipped quietly into the shadows. But look into the faces of the Berliners, and you will still see her. In their resistance, their determination, and their hope, they represent all of us. We are all Berliners.
Discover what the world is talking about at bbc.com/news.